Okay, so you have an amazing significant other, or partner, or husband, or wife, or someone that you live with. But my question to you is, how is it going to be spending 24/7 hours with them every day, all day, for 10 days, 14 days, or maybe even 45 days? I'm talking about the fact that the world is in crisis at the moment and we are all being quarantined. So the question is your relationship quarantine proof? And in this video, I'm actually going to give you some really practical tips so that you can use this time that you are forced to spend together to make sure that you are able to minimize that conflict and actually encourage stronger communication and intimacy, as well as set yourself up to still have that balance, still love each other by the end of this, because you are actually spending so much time with each other. I'm Renee Slansky. Welcome to my channel. I am a professional dating and relationship coach, and I help women from around the world find and build the relationship they desire and deserve. Right, so we all know that we have been put into isolation, the majority of us, okay? We are in lockdown. And if you're not currently in a relationship, you thought you'd check out this video anyway, I have actually done one here up above on how to date when you have to do social distancing and how to still date when you have actually been put into quarantine. But this is the video for the couples. The fact is if you are forced to spend all day, every day with each other for super long periods of time where you work together in the same place, you eat together, you sleep together, you do everything that you would normally do outside of the home as well as inside of the home together, that is going to produce some conflict. It's going to reveal a whole lot of stuff about each other that you weren't even aware of and about your relationship as well. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of relationships either became a lot stronger after this pandemic or actually broke up. So the question is then, how do we actually quarantine proof our relationship so that it can actually last? Well, let's jump into those tips straight away. But first, don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification buttons, and drop a thanks Renee down below if this video is helping you and your relationship. All right, the first thing to do, guys, is this: keep the routine. One of the things that I think everyone kind of got excited about was that, everything was thrown into the works and they got to stay home. It meant they could sleep in, they could walk around in their pajamas, they could see their spouse a bit more and, spend time with the dog. The thing is that a little bit of spontaneity can be really good for a relationship. But if you are being put into lockdown, it's all very fun in the beginning until you realize that, hang on a second, things are starting to get out of control. And so by having some sort of routine and familiarity in a time of uncertainty really helps you feel like you have some sort of control over your environment and that you're still being productive during this time. Because what productivity does is it actually helps you feel like you're achieving something, that there's some sense of purpose. So I would suggest still keeping your normal routine as if you were actually leaving the house. Get up at the normal time that you would get up. If it's, you set the alarm for 6 a.m. because you would normally get ready for work, have breakfast, have coffee together, and then go on public transport or drive to work. Still keep that same time frame. Or maybe you can sleep in for 1 hour. No, but the truth is, guys, is that keeping that routine helps you both feel like you're achieving something still during this really uncertain time, which will actually alleviate some of the fears and stress that you might have in your brain. Plus, it'll actually distract your brain from overthinking too much about, the fact that everything has actually changed. It also means that you will have more structure in your day. And having structure in your day will help you work out how you can work together as a couple when you're in the same environment 24/7. Number 2, spend some alone time. Now, this might be difficult if you live in a small house or a small apartment and it's only a 1 bedroom. What I suggest is you have to prioritize still doing your own thing outside of each other, because this will help you still keep your sanity. It will create the longing and the missing for each other, and it will just bring some sort of balance back to the relationship. But if you feel, okay, well, I don't know when we can have that alone time, schedule it in to your routine. For example, if you would normally be at work at 9 o'clock, maybe decide, okay, well, on Mondays through to Wednesday, I'm going to work in the lounge room and you can work in the bedroom upstairs, and then swap it around so that there's some, fairness going on. But almost have designated space and designated time so that you can still do your own things, still be productive in what you need to do, and actually have that space that you need to be able to focus on yourself and reset that balance. Number 3, date each other. This is where you're going to get really creative with dating. Obviously, you can't go out to restaurants and drinks and things like that, and you're not even allowed to go out to picnics. So it's a really good idea to get creative with how you do your dates at home. Whether it is a picnic on the lounge room floor or in your backyard, whether you have a movie night and a Netflix and chill night, but instead of just, sitting on the couch and bumming around, you might actually say to each other, okay, let's get ready for our date. And you actually go upstairs or wherever and get ready for your date. You do your hair, you do your makeup, he gets dressed up, you get dressed up, and then you go to the lounge room. I know that is crazy, but you know what? It's actually probably going to be really fun. It's definitely going to be something that you're going to remember. It will increase the spontaneity and excitement in your relationship, because you'll both probably be laughing at the fact that, never thought that I'd be getting ready to go on a date in my own lounge room with my own husband. But it still means that you can keep the romance alive. If you are spending so much time with each other, what we tend to do is we tend to get a little bit lazy. And when we get lazy in our relationships, we let things slip, like our appearance or the romance or the intimacy. So if we can, again, create some sort of structure by having maybe a date night twice a week, and actually treating it like a real date night, as if you were actually going out somewhere, that is going to give you an opportunity to still keep that spark alive. Number 4, this is super important, and I think you can use this information whenever. You don't have to be in quarantine to use it. But don't react. Choose a response instead. One of the things that I teach anyone who works with me is I teach them how to actually choose what you want to do to get the best outcome, rather than just instantly reacting to the situation. Now, if you're spending a lot of time with your spouse, the truth is they're probably going to push some buttons, and tension is going to build, especially if you're not talking about things properly. And obviously you can't just go off and do your own thing. You can't just get in the car and drive away, and we can't just go and vent to friends and go to other people's houses, because we're not really allowed to. Stay home. This is about going, okay, well, maybe I need to go and have some quiet time in my room first and calm down before I actually come back and we have a mature conversation about it. You're both going to be under a little bit of pressure here. You're both going to be under some sort of stress. So if you're able to, take this time to go, okay, let's put things into perspective. This isn't normal. It's not normal that we're meant to be spending so much time with each other. It's no wonder that we're getting on each other's nerves. And instead just going, okay, I'm just going to calm down first, and then we're going to talk about this like adults who actually do love each other. Number 5, still schedule in some quality time together. Now, I know that you're spending all day, every day with them, but it's not necessarily quality time. That is quantity time, and quantity time is different to quality time. Quality time is about literally prioritizing time together to actually communicate value onto that person and receive value from them as well. So this is why you want to make sure that even in amongst all this quantity time that you're spending together, that you still make room for quality time within that. Now, a good way to do that is simply have a meal together. But when you're there having that meal together, make sure that you're not on your phones. Actually speak to one another. Have a conversation about, what's going on with your work schedule, or what emails you've got, or what's happening with your friends. Even if that quality time is simply maybe just not even doing much, maybe watching a movie together. Just make sure that you are prioritizing spending time to actually connect. Number 6, and you're going to like this, increase the intimacy. Now, there's been a lot of jokes out there about the fact that when you're stuck in quarantine with your spouse or significant other, you can just have as much sex as you want. Probably not really going to go that way, because you might get a little excited at once, but then you realize you still have, work to do or schedules to live up to or children to attend to. So what I suggest is using this time to increase intimacy if you can. Now, when I say intimacy, I don't just necessarily mean having lots of sex, although that is a good thing for any relationship, but also being affectionate with each other, having deep conversations with each other. This is the perfect opportunity to really learn more about their love language and then put that love language into practice so that they feel loved. Number 7, find the humor. Okay. There are 2 types of people during this pandemic. There are people who are constantly just sending you facts about what's going on in the world and you just feel really depressed reading it all. Or there's the people who send you memes. I'm the meme person and I love receiving some of the memes that are out there. They're hilarious. In times of crisis, when there's a lot of stuff that is out of our control, the best thing to do sometimes is just try and find some joy and try and find some humor in that moment. So if you guys can have moments of laughing, moments of feeling like, okay, let's just laugh about the situation because what else is there that we can do? Maybe sending each other memes, maybe having your own little joke. Then it becomes something that doesn't seem so stressful. Because let's face it, this is a stressful situation, not just because we have to spend all this time with our significant other, but because we don't really know what's going on with the world and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. And chances are there is going to be a lot of financial pressure. I'm just putting it out there. And for a very long time, finance was the main reason why relationships broke down. So if we know how to ease some joy and some, just humor and fun into the situation, it's going to help you relax a little bit. It's going to take the focus off fear or the focus off the future and instead just make you find some sort of gold in amongst all the crazy present situation that's happening. And lastly, number 8, communicate clearly. Okay, you may think that you know your spouse really, really well because maybe you've been with them for a long time, maybe even decades. But communication can still break down in a time when there is high stress, when there are things, again, out of your control, and when you are spending so much time with each other. Because all of a sudden they'll do things that get on your nerves because you can't have the space apart that you normally would when you both go to your separate jobs. So use this time to try and understand them a little bit more and understand how you can both communicate more clearly so that each person feels like they are heard and understood, and so that you actually resolve conflict. Remember that in a relationship, it's not you versus them. It's you and them versus the problem or versus the circumstance that you're going through. As I constantly say, there is going to be more stress and more conflict in this sort of situation because of outside factors as well as what's going on inside the house and seeing each other constantly. So communication will be really vital during this time. And as I was mentioning in point number 4, when I was saying don't just react, choose a response instead, this all comes down to communication. Remember that men and women communicate really differently. Ladies, you don't want to just tell him what your frustrations are. You want to affirm his behavior first and then actually give a logical example of how sometimes his behavior can frustrate you, but then ask him what does he think about it and what's his opinion. Guys, if you're watching this video, you will want to know that women are more emotional based as opposed to logic based. So she may need times for you to just hold her and listen to her and let her downpour and have that outlet of what it is that has been building up inside of her emotionally. If you can both give each other the space to communicate safely without that judgment, then I guarantee you are actually doing your relationship a huge favor. Maybe even coronavirus is doing your relationship a favor. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I personally think that this pandemic is going to either really strengthen marriages and relationships out there, or it's actually going to weaken them. And the fact is that you have a choice for it to go one way or the other. And a lot of that comes down to communication. So there you go. Those are my tips for how to quarantine-proof your relationship during this crazy time. If there's a specific point that you want me to talk about or something that you're experiencing during this pandemic, please drop it down below and let me know so that I can do a video on it just for you or do a live Q&A to answer some of those questions coming in. Because I want you to not only be at ease and at peace within yourself, but also in your relationship. And I believe that this too shall pass. We'll all come out of it and hopefully wiser and stronger and with a more loving relationship and a greater appreciation of our partner. Well, that's it, guys. Hope that this video has really helped you. And don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications for when I release all my other videos. And I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.